So,
Live. I see it.
hanging on air is absolutely live. Hey, everybody. Hey, it's great to see you here. Hey, we have Kurt Molly here, social media ad genius, and Mr. Rob Burns here as long, too. Hey, we are live. So, the thing is I know we have a little viewer button down here, and I know other people are joining on here as well, too. You're either going to see this inside of social media ad genius since you have access to it, because it's really all of our customers, mastermind students, inner circle students. This is really, really important content and information. I'm going to hit Nick real quick just as my backup. We always want to make sure the sound okay. Rob, can you hear me okay?
Hear you great.
You good? Okay, good. You sound good. You look good. Nick, can you see us? I want to make sure that people are able to hit the link, everything hits up right. Typically what I do is I do hangouts with smaller groups. So as we're pushing this out to the group, I want to make people can see this.
Like a bunch of people, or just...
But when it's refreshed. Okay, so Nick has to tell people to refresh their screen. So Nick, can you post, I was given an error when I had to refresh. Okay, can you post this link in all of our mastermind groups? And tell people to, he's like, dude, I can probably hear you too, refresh their screen. I forgot that they had to do that. To refresh their screen, and then we'll show up views and everything else. Give me an error. Nick says yes. I have this. I have a special link. Nick, I'm going to take people directly to, they can go to the event page. Event page is here. Whoops. And then they can watch the video directly over on the YouTube. Oh, there we go. So good. I see people starting to pile on. That's exactly what we were looking for. So I think I forgot to tell everybody that they got to refresh their screen. So a little house cleaning just up front. Again, my name's Kurt Molly, Black Box Social Media ad genius. We have here Rob Burns, really special friend of mine. I'm going to go through a couple of strategies that are really, really, really important. And you may have already seen the interview before, but we're going to put this back inside of our members area. I think this is a really, really, really important subject. And here's why. And this is why we're only inviting, by the way, our paid members. The first thing is as I'm holding up my credit card. There we go. That's great. But basically, you know, the thing is you really want to. So yeah, Nick's gonna. That's great. You really want to focus on your business as a business and not just only a hobby. I mean, this is such an important subject that, like I said, we're going to make sure that this is put in our membership area. And this is something that really everyone who has a business should unequivocally do. So a lot of people, like I just got off of a coaching call, a lot of people will say, you know, Kurt, I'm not the expert yet, so I can't sell. Or I haven't made $10 million yet, so I'm not able to. Or, you know what, I have not made X, or I've not done X, so I can't consult other people how to do it. Not true at all. What I tell people all the time, if you've researched and you know that when someone hands you money that you're going to work your tail off to fulfill whatever you promised, you don't have to be the expert. You just have to know what buttons to hit. You know, Henry Ford said the same thing as well, too, where he's like, I don't need to know all the answers. I got this little box on my desk. I know exactly what buttons to hit to ask the right people, right? So what people are looking for right now is they're going to Google, they're going to YouTube, and they're saying, who knows something about this subject, right? Who knows something about this specifically? Well, it's one of the things that Rob specializes in. So we're going to do this interview style. You can see I'm really informal with my headset on here too. But we're people who are inside social media, Ad Genius Insider Club, any of our jump starts, any of our cruise control, or any of our higher end masterminds. Because really what I consider you guys to be is not hobbyists, but actual business owners, right? There's people out there that are like, I want to run Facebook ads. I'm going to hit 3 buttons. I'm going to put in $10. I didn't make any money. That's it. That's not really a business. That's a hobbyist, right? What we're really talking about is really for business owners, really an inexpensive way for business owners to really get tons of branding. So let me jump into this, and I want to show you what we have. For example, I don't know why I'm moving my screen because I forgot on the amusing Google Hangout. What I can do is share my screen. All right, that I want to share this right here. All right, yep, should be able to see my screen. That's great. I'm now going to go to Black Box Social Media. go to what we have on our page is media. So from our page, we put together this little video right here, little branding video. I'll show you just very quickly. Okay, I mean, nice little song video, right? We actually created that video off something called videohive.net, which is a really inexpensive way to get some of these videos created for you, and of course our favorite site, Fiverr, right? Fiverr can help out with tons of stuff. Well, here's the things. Let's scroll on down. I mean, that's great. You can get that made for $5, $10. That rounds you a little bit. Scroll on down. Oh, I've got this little pretty thing that Nick made over here. We got to get some better glamour shots. Scroll on down. Well, here's another one of those videos. What's social media in 7 minutes? We talk about our mission statement. Again, smartly, easy little video that we got on off of like VideoHive and Fiverr. Well, Tom wrote a book. Now, I'll tell you, we spent way over 10 grand to have this whole entire book done and written, especially to be in it with Dan Kennedy. But the thing is when we have a book and we say, hey, look, Tom has written a book with Tom's a national best-selling author with a guy named Dan Kennedy. It cost over $30,000 just to have Dan come in and consult. I mean, that's 10 grand. What's that?
I didn't even know Tom could read. That's awesome.
So what ends up happening is we spend a lot of money on the book, but I mean, we got a client who spends a good deal of money with us literally just because they said, why should we trust you? And we said, look, we wrote a book that's a national best-selling book that we write about this exact subject that you're hiring us for. We're like, that's great, but you don't have to have $10,000 to write a book. Look at this. You see all these logos down here? Forbes.com, USA Today, Houston Chronicle, Newsday, Yahoo News, Buffalo News. I mean, we use all those logos for our business. These logos are pennies on the dollar considering what it costs to write a book with someone really famous. So you can literally say, well, wait a minute. People are like, well, why should I trust you? Well, go to Google. Google me. By the way, I recently had an article written about me. It's all about your language. I had an article written about me that appeared in the Houston Chronicle, The Star, Virtual Strategy Magazine, Boston Herald. I mean, it was picked up by a lot of other news wires. And literally, you can do this for pennies on the dollar. And people go, well, how do I get those logos? Like, I have to be an expert. I have to be in business for 20 years. Like, what do I have to do? Well, I mean, that's really why Rob's here. He lies in press releases that are really simple. So if you saw the preview video, you know that Rob owns a company called PRReach.com. It's a company that we use, absolutely amazing, and what they do is very, very, very different. Now, Rob, a little bit, I know I just kind of jumped in this and kind of went over kind of some of the branding stuff. You got Facebook ads, which are absolutely amazing, and I'm going to turn my camera back on for this. You got Facebook ads that, oh, wait a minute, was I presenting to everyone when I was going down the screen? Nick, did you see that? There was never a warning here before. Now it said present it to everyone on the screen. I was scrolling down my screen. I don't know if you could see me share my screen. Rob, did you see my screen when I was sharing it?
Yeah, I still am. So.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that everyone can see it. I think Nick may have had to step away.
You have the chat.
I'm sorry?
Are we doing the chat dealio too, or is that just?
Yeah, the chat over here to the side is actually just going to be us. So everybody's actually watching it behind. The people who are on it now watching it live, they're all behind our membership portal or inside one of our Facebook mastermind groups. And then again, we'll have the recording that'll play for as well too. But here's the thing: is when you're running Facebook ads, that's great. But the day that you stop running ads is typically the day that you stop making money, unless you have an amazing follow-up process. So what you can do is on your branding, on your sales pages, to build credibility, whether you're a local business, large business, just an entrepreneur, is issuing press releases can help you get a lot of these logos all over for your branding. So Rob's been in internet marketing for well over 15 years. We talked about that on the interview. Rob's wife, as many entrepreneurs, decided to have a life change and said, hey, I want to be a personal organizer. So let's go over this real quick because I know this can work for any type of business. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping on into it because I get excited about this stuff. You guys, I've known Rob for years. He's been in masterminds. He's highly regarded. He's a great friend to a lot of amazing people. He's seen the behind-the-scene curtains of a lot of marketing companies, a lot of online marketers. He's seen the rise and fall of lots of people. So he has a lot of history in his noggin, and he has a lot of vision of what's going forward. So what we talked about before is Rob started this press release company that's unlike any other company that does amazing things for your business for literally pennies on the dollar for, I can't believe what you charge, but it's pennies on the dollar, and Rob's really made a name for himself helping you make a name for yourself in really easy channels. I mean, Rob, did I miss anything there? We'll get more into technical, but
I think we're done. We're pretty much done.
So here's the thing. Rob recreates his business a couple of years ago. I know that Rob. We can kind of go in the story. We kind of want to teach on this. Is you used other press release companies, and you found that there was a big need in the market. Now, without getting too technical on all the buttons and whistles, what was some of that need that you felt the market needed, and what do you do that's different than anybody else that any small business or entrepreneur can use?
Yeah, I thought when I was really kind of assessing the next thing I was going to do, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the the short interview we did before this. I set up some criteria, and one is what were my superpowers, what were my skill sets, where is there a need in the market where there's a gap. So maybe there's, and where is something that I can build up that's like a real business and not just, an internet marketing hustle type things, fly by night, cash out.
Yeah.
I wanted to build something, 10 years from now. And like we talked about before, way back in the dinosaur days, I had a company called Banding Publishing, and we were a marketing and PR firm. And so I already had that marketing PR skill set. And then, so looking at the industry now, I noticed PR and press releases are really, they're very similar to, say, the publishing model, where there's something that still works, and it's older and established, and with the publishing model, it's a 16th century model, really. I mean, how the big giant book publishers, is not really that much different. And with PR, press releases have been around for about 100 years now. And so if it's been around for 100 years, it's probably going to work. It's not a fly-by-night thing. But most of the PR companies are still really stuck in almost a madman mentality, and their technology is still there because they've been around so much that their technology is embedded, and so they're not really flexible. And so what I did is I said, well, let's look at press releases, and let's look at what people are doing now, and how can I build a platform that's gonna take advantage of all that. And so we can implement new technology. So as we grow, things that work we will keep, and if there's new things we can add, and things that don't work we can get rid of. So it's really, it evolves on the fly, and that's really what I did with PR Reach. And we added some new technologies that nobody's doing right now, like video press releases. We're actually the world's first video press release service, and we actually trademarked that, so nobody else can be. So that's kind of cool.
So just to be clear, let's talk about. I mean, let's just be completely open and honest here, real quick. Rob, you know what I like to call you out on this stuff. I want to show people something here, real quick. I think this is really, really, really important. This is going to be a picture at Rob's last mastermind that I took. Hang on. No, I'm just joking. You're like, no.
I was naked at that one, so yeah.
You can tell Rob's a really good friend. We joke about this stuff all the time. Okay, so let's just take a look at this here real quick. Now, this is one of those ginormous, huge press release companies that I know that I've used before, where I would send out even like a press release a day, which is way too much anyway. But the thing is these people really don't care. Like, it's just, you're just this huge conglomerate. You better have a lot of money. You better be able to push out your press release. And that's kind of it. I'm trying to show an example that pulls up here. But I mean, $499 a press release, $159 a press release. I mean, $159. Now I want to read this and tell you what the technical aspect of this is. Okay, this is really important, and we're gonna have a chuckle. Okay, for $100 a press release hosted by PR Web. Let's be clear. They put it on their site. This is not Rob's site. This is the big behemoth that Rob's like, dude, I'm going to beat these guys completely. Release can appear on a search engine. Are you serious? Anything appears on a search engine if you put it online for $100.
So
That's it. Hey, that's a post on their blog. You're like, you gotta be kidding me. Because if you Google exactly Rob Burns and Kurt Molly gets national credibility interview, then you're gonna find it on their site. But other than that, you'd never see it, right? Or what about $159 a press release? You get to use their social media sites. We're gonna tweet and Facebook it. Seriously, I get a blog post and a Facebook and tweet. What about advanced? This sounds really, it's optimized for searchability. This means they're actually going to send it out to a couple of press releases, $249, $250, or what they're talking about right here is where you can actually embed a video, right? Well, that's actually financial, so of course you're always going to pay a lot more financial, which is kind of interesting because Rob doesn't discriminate with any business. But here's premium. We've used this in the past before we used Rob. You can embed a little video that you create the video, you have to take care of the video, and then it gets sent out to major search engines. You mean it's actually registered somewhere, but it sends out to a lot of other journalists and press release news subscribers. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Well, Rob looks at this and says, well, wait a minute, there's a better mousetrap. And are you kidding me? You're going to spend, where was I at it before, $369 for one press release? So I know, Rob, what you've done instead, which is just, I think, just amazing, is you went to PR Reach. Come on. I know I'm going to spell this right. It's not going to be preach. You're in gold bullion. There's two R's. So with Rob, not only does he send out not only to social site, but I mean, Rob, you created where you have a news anchor that comes in. Tell people about this third-party validation and how you are massively different from what we just reviewed from that big Klamath guy. I mean, really, why did you start PR Reach, and why is it so amazing and different?
Right. Well, just being in marketing, both you and I know that when, if you're in a room and you're just talking about yourself all the time, that everybody just kind of just looks at you and rolls their eyes and just wants to get away. And so, that conversation is you talking about yourself. And so with basically every press release company in the world out there, that's what you're doing. You're writing something and trying to get people interested in you and your stuff while you're talking about yourself. So with PR Reach, I wanted to figure out a way where basically we would get a third-party validation, and that essentially is with our press releases, we have a news anchor that actually we have a virtual newsroom, and they'll actually read your press release, and then we'll make that that turns into a video, and then we'll actually embed that video in the press release. So our press releases we're the only press release company in the world where there's somebody talking about you instead of you talking about yourself. And that third-party validation that's where you get that credibility, and then you can take those, there's a ton of other things we can talk about, how you take that video and use it for your branding and use it, to charge, higher prices and build credibility, and you can even use it as a Facebook video ad or a YouTube video ad, and so that's what we did with that. So that's how really the third-party validation thing kind of came into play. So it gives you a little bit, it makes you a little bit more believable because people believe other people talking about you more than you talking about yourself.
I mean, tell the story of your amazing wife. I mean, as an entrepreneur, she said to change careers. She's like, I want to be a personal organizer. I'm not really the expert. And you're like, I got a brilliant idea. And can you kind of tell people how you structured that and where she's at today?
Sure. Excuse me. So she was actually partners with me in Banyan Publishing, and when Banyan Publishing went away, says we had about 99% of our clientele were hotel and resorts. We focused on marketing for the national hotel chains, and when September 11th hit, basically every CFO from every hotel chain called within 24 hours and said, hey, nobody's traveling. It's probably going to be a year before we really get ramped up again, so cancel all our contracts. And I had a huge building. I had a 5,000 square foot printing plant that just printed sales materials for people, marketing materials and 8 web designers and all that crazy kind of stuff. And so I literally in a week had to shut that business down. And so when we were done, we were both thinking, talking to my wife, she was really thinking, well, I think I want to kind of do my own thing, and I want to figure out what it is. And so she took a year off and just spent a year researching what she wanted to do. And at the end of the year, she comes back and she says, okay, I know what I want to do. And it's actually about 9 months. And she says, well, I think I want to be a professional organizer. And this is, what, maybe 10-ish years ago, 11 years ago. And I was just like, well, that sounds great. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I have no idea what a professional organizer is, and I have no idea how to market it. And I hope she figures out something else really quick that will make us some money. But outwardly, I was like, hey, I support you. It's, sure. And so we put together kind of a game plan because at the time I was doing a lot of SEO work, and really there was nobody looking for it at the time. So I couldn't really use my SEO superpowers or even any kind of the traditional markets. It was basically something that people weren't looking for because they didn't know it at the time it existed. And now there's, I think, 5 TV shows about it and all kinds of crazy stuff. And there's even magazines based on organizing. So it's a huge business and a huge industry. And she really got in on it before that. So what we decided to do is, he said, well, we can't really sell to a market, so let's create a market and let's create an audience. And what we did is we went back to using press releases and PR and really started to kind of build our own thing. And what we did is we would do a press release, and we started out small, where we would write a press release and send it to maybe a local newspaper and get an article, and we would write something maybe about. So she was also an organizer and an image consultant, so she kind of combined those two things. So it might have been how to pick a new wardrobe for your new job, or how to get it, how to dress for a job interview, or spring cleaning for your garage, or organize your kids' room for back to school. So all those kind of little things. And what we would do is we would create these press releases, and we would hyper focus and pitch them to certain areas. And so we started out with local newspapers, and that evolved into some larger national newspapers, and then we got into local news, and that grew into some national news things. And eventually she was on Good Morning America, and then she was on she was in Oprah Magazine and Martha Stewart Radio, and that led to some larger corporations seeking her out. And she got now she does $7,000 to $10,000 keynote speaking gigs for companies like Intuit and Hewlett Packard and things like that. And the whole key to it is every time we did a press release is when we got picked up. So anytime the media uses whatever you send them. So if you're on the news or they call it pickup. So all of her pickups, we created something called a media room on her website, and we would add that content to the media room. So if she got a newspaper article, we'd put the article on her site, and if she got on the news, we take the video of her being on the news, and we would put it on her site, and we put it in the media room. And as organizing and image consulting became more popular and more well known, journalists started writing about it, and they were looking for articles. And so and most journalists now really do, I would say probably 95% of the research is on the web. So as they're researching and trying to find out who's kind of at the top of their game as far as being an organizer or an image consultant, they would find Kathy's site, and they would see her media room, and they would see her being on the news, or a news story about her, and so that she had this massive credibility, and it just kept snowballing and growing and growing until she's where she is now. And now we don't even do press releases, which is kind of, I shouldn't say that since I have a press release company, but she has so much content and she has so many connections with journalists that they now, we have journalists on our Rolodex. So if ever we have a story or something we think is interesting that might relate to them, then she'll just call them up and say, hey, I have a story. Or she'll get calls all the time where a journalist is, like, hey, we're on Channel 7 News, we've got a 7 o'clock opening, and can you talk about this stuff? And then they know that she's good, and they know that she's going to rock it out for them. So she just automatically just jumps in and does it, but all of that also, as she got the news exposure and the media exposure, that brought traffic to her site, and that brought traffic to her, and it also built credibility. So she charges, I would say, on average, 3 times more than the average professional organizer. It's funny because all the time she'll get calls and people are just like, "Are you crazy? That's ridiculous what you're charging." And then she'll just like, well, there's plenty of other people out there, and they'll wind up coming back to her because they'll go to her site and they'll see the media room and they'll see all her exposure and they'll say, wow, she was on Good Morning America. I want the lady who's on Good Morning America to do my stuff for me. And really, that's how. And the whole point of this story is, most people think, well, we can't. We're just this little small mom and pop business, and we don't really have anything interesting, and press releases are great, but they don't really relate to us. Press releases are for Apple or IBM or Microsoft. Those people put them out every day, and it's important, but for us, it's not. But here's my wife who basically created a high 6-figure income that nobody actually even knew existed, and press releases are actually the way that she did it. So that's that story.
Whoop, there we go. I muted for a second when I was shuffling around here. Here's the thing is that I want to go over a couple of things because this is really important. So here's what I hear from the story that I want to reinforce with everyone else. And again, keep in mind, we're going to put this in the back of our recording, of our member area. I'll put it inside of all of our mastermind groups. Is having third-party accreditation or validation from news sources is amazing. Now, we're going to tell you some little tricks behind it, right? And there's not even tricks. Like, Rob, if I remember right from our interview, you have a forum to show people how to write press releases. You even have like 99 ideas to write press releases. You can even refer people that will write them for them. And then just for an idea for this national branding, and I know we say, small businesses can use press releases too, but without naming clients, can you just kind of think off the top of your head the orders that you've had in the last month or last year? Like, just start naming different types of businesses. Like, I know you've had, obviously you've had speakers, authors. Like, can you give people a range, small businesses, large businesses? Again, no names, just types of industries.
Right. Yeah, I would say there's most of the kind of big name guru folks in internet marketing are starting to use them, and they're starting. I'm seeing a trend in it where in different like user groups and Facebook user groups, people start posting their video press release and to the group saying, hey, check it out, this this video talking about me kind of thing, and so that's starting to kind of snowball. And in reality, I don't really even go after internet marketing that much. It's just, I think, just because I have been embedded so long and people know what, you kind of follow what I'm doing, that's kind of happening. A lot of people that have smaller local businesses or market local business is really good. So people like local chiropractors or local dentists, that's a huge, kind of a huge following. Speaker, author, experts is really good. Also, people, a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. We had one person who he gave us a testimonial where they had a Kickstarter campaign, and I think it had something to do with they were trying to raise funds to get a group of people to lobbyists to petition Congress because the horses in Wyoming or Montana, like they have this thing where the government will actually go out wild horses and slaughter them and sell them, and they were trying to put a stop to that. And this Kickstarter was just sitting dead in the water, and it had been dead in the water for a couple of weeks. And so they put out a press release, and that press release actually got in front of a congressional aide who was really that particular congressman was really interested in that kind of thing because it went through Associated Press, so they kind of follow subject matters that they're working on as far as Congress. So it got in front of a congressional aide, went to the congressman, called the person up, and said, "Hey, I'm totally behind this," and then basically the whole Kickstarter campaign blew up, and I think they made like 150% of what their original goal was, and that was just from one press release. And again, that's not going to be the case with everybody, and I would even say most of the time that's not going to be the case, just with full disclosure. But if you do a really good, well-written press release and you get it in front of the right people, you can really make things happen. So that's a good case study too.
What's interesting, Rob, when you say that is a couple things come to mind. First of all, like I've heard of a cleaning company, a carpet cleaning company, that found a report online that was like, there's over 2 million bugs that live on 1 square foot of your carpet that hasn't been cleaned in 2 years, right? And they did a press release about it. And they talked about the horrible thing, and one of the best things that the press release recommended that you should do is you should definitely get quarterly cleanings from a carpet cleaner, right? It's one of the best things that you can do.
Right.
And then the people who wrote the story was a carpet cleaning company. So what happened is really when I heard you say in that story, same thing with your wife's as well, it only takes, I mean, I know you send this out to hundreds of different places, not thousands of different places, and other reporters could see it as well too. But it only takes 1 or 2 people that have a lot of interest in you or your products to introduce you to the right person. I think press releases are not only great to get your message out to the masses for just pennies on the dollar for what you're really looking for exposure. And then the second thing is literally just someone in the press. By the way, we did a press release through Rob. I don't know if I ever told you this, Rob. We did a press release because we were frustrated because one of our clients got their fan page hacked by someone in Albania, and we issued a press release on it where we said we were frustrated because we couldn't deal with Facebook, and it was something called Facebook hacks. Someone from the Boston Globe found us, and I got interviewed by the Boston Globe.
Hey, there you go.
I mean, it just takes one person. I was talking to a potential client, and they go, "Man, Kurt, you know what? Our fan page got hacked like 3 months ago, and it's just been hell ever since." And I go, "That's really interesting. I was actually interviewed by the Boston Globe for that very subject." Oh my goodness, their eyes light up. They're like, "Oh my goodness, that's absolutely amazing." And then again, when they go to my website, or people, Rob and I know lots of people who on their Facebook fan page or on their Facebook page themselves. Here, I'll take this off here real quick. Is literally like Rob's picture down over here, right? If Rob's picture would be moved over to the side right here, his face, then they would have all the logos. I guess you can't see my mouse when I'm moving it when I'm right here, right? But basically, Rob over here, let's see here, right down here, Rob would have all these logos like CNN, whatever he's appeared on. Now, we've said these, how do you get these logos over and over and over? It's actually really, 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 really easy. Rob shows you how to write the press release, whereas, of course, it shows you how to do it, or really step by step. It should be, of course, but I know it's free for people who use your service. He gives you ideas on how to write press releases, and then once you write the press release or have someone else pay to write the press release, then all you do is a super, super easy little human trick. Watch this. I'm going to go to screen share. I'm going to go back to the first screen that I was at. Okay? All right. So present to everyone. There we go. I'm going to go to this thing called the Google. Okay? Facebook fan page hack. And I'm going to put quotations around this right here. So it's going to look for the exact term. Now what you do is you do this for your press release. You do this for the title of your press release. And you put the quotations right around, so it's going to search for those exact terms. Now it pulls up Mark Zuckerberg was hacked, these other Facebook hacks. We used to rank top in here. That was 2 years ago. Right here, Facebook fan page hacked, right? So I'm going to click on that. Okay? So that got me on the first page of Google, still on the first page of Google from 2011. That's 3 years. I mean, have someone rank on the first page of Google for 3 years, that's pretty big, right? And then as we go on down, let's see here, Mashable picked up some of this. Let me keep on going down on here. See, we just basically wrote an article about something that was going on. This is why we got called by the Boston Globe. But what happens is when I come back, I go over to news. Whoops. Click on news. Let me see if my story still comes up. Well, here's all the latest news. So typically,
that stuff refreshes pretty quick. So.
Yeah, it does. So basically, what happens is you just take your exact title of your press release right here, and then try to think of an example. I don't have a press release off the top of my head that we did. I think we haven't done one in the last 2 weeks. I think it's social media. But yeah, would you mind just sharing just a title? Well, here's one right here. This is September 19th. So releases Power Editor. So watch. Here's a perfect example right here. Okay, this is through PR Reach, right? You can see right here, so you guys see that I use the service as well. Watch. If I go for more information, I'm going to click on PR Reach down here, right? Here's my link, so everything backlinks to one big spot. Here's where people are going to see my press release. Here's a news anchor reading my press release where I can use this video for Facebook advertising. I can use this for branding. Someone else is talking about me. See, here's my social media ad genius link, right? So that links my website. That gives Tom Bukacik credibility as well, too. He's the one who wrote it. Now you see a hyperlink underneath my name that gives me credibility. Social media ad genius link. There's quotes. Images are great. Google, Yahoo, Bing, they love images. So now we're able to put images up there. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take this title right here. I'm going to go to the Google and I'm going to do an exact search. So look at this. Just on the web, here's an exact search of something that happened on the 18th. Look. So PR Reach carried me. I'm going to see who that is. Social Dragon on Facebook. Oh, they covered me. That's interesting. Scoop It. Let's see here. And again, I'm just clicking right on down the line. Let's see Social Media Ad Genius.
There's ABC News right there.
Yeah, you can do this too.
Yeah. CBS, ABC.
Yeah, let me go into news. And again, this refreshes very, very, very quickly. So yeah, that goes. Let's just click on videos, right? Let's see what pulls up for videos. Look at that. It appears on Vimeo, frequency.com. So just because Rob did the video, now look what happens. Look at this. Here's another one to be featured. So this is Vimeo, Vimeo, Vimeo. So now I have Vimeo. Again, just one press release. Let's take a look at images. Wait a minute, now I got all these different images that are up there as well too that we've used for Rod, so that helps us get us higher ranked on the search engines. Now I'm getting a lot of extra exposure. I just did one press release, right? So now I can say, well, this didn't load right. There is sound coming from somewhere.
Sounds like one of the press releases going on.
Yep. Here's another sound somewhere. Where is, hang on.
Get out of my anchor here. Japanese.
The advertisement, that's funny.
It's a German.
So look at this. So I appeared in just a quick search. By the way, you have lots more searches when the press release first comes out. So I can say I appeared in scoop.it. I can see that I appeared in Firework Images and Moments. I don't know how in the heck that's relevant to me. Sometimes weird sites pick it up. NBC4i. So NBC is located, this one is located where? Columbus, Ohio. So I got picked up in Columbus, Ohio. I got picked up in Gadget Today. So that's really interesting. How about this one? Charleston News. So I appear in Charleston News. Let's go to the next one. Five Action News. Where's this one at? Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, Phoenix, Arizona is a great market. HT Pro Sports Newsfeed. This is an organization in Texas. Well, that's cool. And then I'm just going to go through just two more. Marketers Media. I get to use this logo because I appeared there. So that's cool. Look, this is from Australia. That's really cool. Frequency, and then it goes over to other Facebook pages. That's just one example. So not only can people not only find you, because if someone was to say, let's see here, updated Power Editor. I just want to take a quick look. Now, we've really focused on Facebook pay-per-click. We really don't do much SEO. Everything we get in websites is just kind of a little extra. So let's take a look. Updated Power Editor video. Look at this. Updated Power Editor video. Look at this. 23 million results, right? Look at that, 23 million. Look at this, is inside Facebook. That's pretty big. Facebook themselves. John Loomer, some guy who writes a ton of. Look at that. The only video on that entire first page right here is from PR Reach. It outranks this video right here, how to use the Power Editor, all Facebook. Look at this. I'm on the first page, and all I had to do with my video is just do a press release. Look at all these other Sony Creative. You're telling me I beat out Sony Creative? I mean, it's a huge company. Huge.
You beat out Facebook for their own videos.
Yeah, I mean, I beat out Facebook, AdExpresso. I mean, these are major companies. So again, I mean, I cannot tell you enough how much we really appreciate working with Rob, working with PR Reach. I mean, it's helped out our branding. I'm telling you, people have said before, they're like, whoops, I put in an O, so sorry about that. You know, we use these logos all the time. We use them on lots of different stuff that we do. And we tell people, we're like, look, you can be confident when you invest in our products and services because we've got national attention for this. You can find us out online. So, Rob, I know we've talked a lot about coverage. I've just walked people through an example. I mean, let me ask you this, 3 questions. Is there any business that's too small that shouldn't use a press release?
I don't know, because really you can always tie into some kind of subject line or national news. And just kind of going back to what you were showing, another thing is with our reporting, so we usually have or we always do, I should say, not usually. When you send out a press release, you'll get a report back within 24 hours, and one's an online report, but you also get a PDF version with clickable links on there, and there's usually a couple hundred different pickups that are from national news sources too. So when you want to talk about branding and using your logo, so you can send out a press release, and then if it shows up on, say, an ABC station or CBS or whatever, then you can use those logos also. So you don't even have to do the whole Google search, because Google, you know, I am less and less focused on the SEO aspect and more on the traffic and the branding aspect, and with the reports. And the SEO stuff works awesome, but it's just, you know, it's always changing and evolving. So to base a business just on SEO and SEO marketing, which is kind of what PR Web did, they said, hey, we're the SEO press release company. And then Google immediately heard that and said, no, you're not, and actually de-indexed the whole company for a couple months. So I don't. I would say we're probably better than most of the better companies out there as far as SEO, because that's what I've been doing for the last forever. But I just don't talk about it. But anyway, so long story short is, if you want to use those logos and you want to use the branding type stuff, we'll have a report, so you don't have to go around and search for things and do that kind of stuff. You just click the button and it'll show what page it's on, and there's a lot of national syndication sources that you'll show up on. So going back to the smaller business, is there a business too small? One of the really cool tricks or techniques that we like to use, and we refer our users to, is we call it newsjacking, and basically what it is tying whatever your business is to something that's happening on the national news, and it's a great way to find stories for companies that you wouldn't think would be newsworthy. And so a good example might be, you have a hot dog cart. So I don't think you can get any smaller than a hot dog cart, and you want to market your hot dog cart. So maybe you start looking in national news, and maybe you find a story about salmonella poisoning or something like that. And so you can write a press release, and as an expert, because you're in the food industry, just comment on this article or this story that you've already seen, and you just go to Google News and just type in whatever keyword you're looking for. and so you tie in you being an expert in the food industry and maybe how, an example of what you do, and for more information, contact us, or find out more, and then, it could be a link to your hot dog cart website or your Twitter account, or maybe it's a food truck, and you're a traveling food truck, or say you're a roofer, and you're like, well, there's no, how is a roofer going to get in the news? Well, maybe there was a hurricane, and so now you can kind of comment about protecting yourself against how to have a roof that protects you against mold and storms, or a storm-proof roofing system or something like that. So, and basically what you do is you make yourself the expert and you comment. And then a lot of times the journalists they'll when they're looking, your story might come across Associated Press or LexisNexis or whatever, because they're looking for people that are commenting on stories about that storm or stories about salmonella poisoning or whatever. And they think, well, wow, this guy's got a unique angle, and they might give you a call, and next thing you know, you're on a radio show, you're on a TV show talking about your business. And
now, what I think is really important to mention here, Rob, as we really start kind of wrapping this up, I've yet another webinar at the top of the hour. It's really this, Rob. I say this over and over and over, and you've heard me speak on stage before too. No one ever does anything consistently ever, and I tell people that if you have more heart, you can beat out talent almost 99% of the time. So as we say, you're a local expert on, let's be completely honest. How are you a local expert? Is it how much money you made, how much business is done? No, someone else, third party, says that you're an expert, you claim that you're the expert. It's literally just like walking into any Mexican restaurant or barbecue restaurant in Texas. They're like, we're the #1 here in Texas. Really? But who said that? Is there an association? Do they give out medals? Is it like an Academy Award? Like, people are just looking for third-party validation. So keep that in mind with press releases. Now, the other thing is, no one ever does anything consistently ever. I mean, really, imagine if you're pumping out, 1, 2, 3 press releases a month on a regular basis, and you're constantly getting picked up for, I'm going to use social. Actually, I was working with one guy earlier who has a hair salon. I mean, he could literally write a press release every other week talking about a contest they're going to do, talking about a giveaway, talking about a new style, talking about a special that they have. Now, all of a sudden, in a month or 2 months, he has all these logos. He's like, look, this small little salon has appeared in so many different places, and that consistency keeps picking up. Well, then all of a sudden, someone from the news is like, man, we got to find someone who knows about this local hairstyle or this local. They run a quick search. It could be Austin, Texas, top hairstylist. All of a sudden, they see 10 press releases over the last 3 months that have been put out. They're like, oh my goodness, this person's always in the news. That's where they're looking to interview people. You just got to be consistent. Rob and I have both seen where people will issue a press release, they'll do one, and they're like, well, it didn't work for me, so press releases don't work. No, that's not the way that it works, is you're consistently keeping in front of the right people. It just takes one to turn it into exactly what Rob said with his wife's business. It is 100% referral only, all because a couple of key people found a press release, all because she established herself as an expert, and once she was hired, this is super important, she worked her tail off to give amazing value, but and I know your wife very well, all she needed was that in. She just needed that opportunity to allow someone to perform. Someone saw the press release and said, you look like someone I can trust. Will you perform? She does. Now it's 100% referral business. That's the way our agency is, and you can have that same business too. So, Rob, as we run this out, we talk about consistency. We talk about this can be your story. We talk about branding. I said, Rob, can you do something special for everybody? And I think what you're giving away is a little ridiculous, but I also think that it can be very, very, very valuable to any of our members. And by the way, I don't know when you're going to see the recording, so I don't know if this special is always going to happen, but you should definitely get a hold of Rob. So, Rob, first of all, how can people get a hold of you if they have any additional questions?
Sure. You can just go to prreach.com, and then there's a contact us section there. And then also, if you go to prreach.com, there's one of those annoying pop-up blocks that because you were talking about reasons to write a press release, and it's actually a little PDF book that I did. It's actually 108 reasons to write a press release. So you'll just never run out of reasons to write a press release.
That's perfect. So you got the reasons there. And then, Rob, what did you say that if people took advantage of this, I asked for a special offer that you said that you were happy and obliged to do?
Yeah, so I was trying to think of something that would just be really kind of a no-brainer, where because I know a lot of people are really want to try it out, but it's just sometimes the price point is just like, hey, it's not an impulse buy type thing. So yeah, we're gonna do basically if you sign up for PR Reach, you get your first month for $1. So if you do the regular monthly subscription, it's $1. So that's a $196 savings. So, and then and if you like it, you just keep going. And if it doesn't work out for you, then that's fine too. You got a chance to do it. And I'm just betting the farm that you guys are gonna love it, and you're just gonna stick with it. And so I'm gonna do a kind of a short-term dollar offer here.
So just so everyone knows, and I'll put it here in this Word document as well that we'll have. Let me pull this bad boy up. Wherever. It's funny because I have 3 different screens, right? So I'm always trying to look over. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, where exactly is? So let's do new blank document. Make this easy. You can go ahead and visit. You can see that Rob and I are really high tech on this stuff. Right there. If you go to this link right here, that's where you're going to get the special offer, something that Rob does not advertise whatsoever, exclusively really just for you. But what's going to happen is, actually, let me bring this down over here just a little bit. All right. So what's going to happen is if you go to prreach.com/blackbox, you're going to come to this page right here, and it's going to say get your first month of PR Reach for only $1. So, I mean, check it out. I mean, I know, Rob, you say you can cancel it any time, but it's not. I mean, everybody always says that you can cancel it any time, but it's really the consistency that pays the bills. And I'm not the smartest one on Facebook pay-per-click. I just knew that I consistently would run it. I would try. I would write something different. I'd do something different. And it literally just took one client to brag about me that went to another, that now I have a referral-only business. I still use press releases because when someone Googles me before they hand me 10 grand, we're listed all over as well too. So I couldn't endorse Rob more. I think as we're running Facebook ads, I really like to teach entrepreneurs about branding and really about marketing to make sure they have a long-term sustainable business, and writing press releases is a great way to do that, and getting those logos as well. So unequivocally, yeah, make sure that you visit prreach.com, check out the site, but if you want the dollar offer, the only way you're going to see it is prreach.com/blackbox. Now, keep in mind, I am going to go speak to a group of 800 people in New Jersey. I'm going to tell them this exact same thing, too. We're going to extend that offer. And I know, Rob, you said you have business partners, and you actually lose money on the dollar offer. So I know that you can shut it down at any time as well, too. So I don't want to overwhelm you with too many people to take advantage of the damn offer.
Yeah, my current business partners are threat business partners if I do the dollar deal. So, but I think it's a great way for people to try it, and I know that most people that try it just stick around. They love it. So, the one caveat I would say is it's not a magic bullet. Push a button, whiz gimmickry, get rich quick kind of thing. It's something that if you have a real business that you're really interested in doing, then it's a great option for you. And as Kurt mentioned, consistency is also, and that's why I have it as a monthly thing, because whether you do one press release a week or one press release a month, it's just it's kind of a law of averages, where maybe one or two just didn't get any traction, but then all of a sudden that one is the one that was the magic one, and then all of a sudden you get all the exposure and just get your ROI on your investment. So that's about it.
All right, everybody. We are at the top of the hour. I'm going to run to another webinar. Rob, I really appreciate your time again. We're only going to put this inside of the members area, so I appreciate people watching here live. I always like to do this time spot, and sometimes you get a lot of people, sometimes you get a little people, but it's the kind of one time spot that you can get everybody from all over the world, and we're going to blast this out as well, too. I just think branding is super important as you're building a long-term legitimate business. I couldn't recommend Rob more, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the training. Rob, thank you so much for your time as well, my friend. I'm going to say c'est la vie. I got to run, but, man, I always appreciate you. Thanks for the amazing insight. You guys make sure you take up Rob on his offer. I mean, for $1 for some press releases for the first month, and literally if you break it down how much you have to pay per press release for what he does compared to what other people pay, or even what you're paying in ad spend, It's a great way to get some great exposure. So again, Rob, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it, buddy. See you
Thank you,
guys.
Brad.
Take care.
See you guys.